Welcome back, everyone, to Ferris Sports Update. Time to talk Bulldog Hockey, and with us, head coach Bob Daniels. And Coach, first of all, welcome back to the show.
Hey, it's good to be back, Rob. Thank you.
A tough weekend this past weekend, a battle of ranked teams taking on Western Michigan. I know you're disappointed with the outcome, probably, of both games, but talk about your play this past weekend.
Sure. Well, you know, it was an interesting series, as always, when you have a home and home. And meaning that we played at our rink on Friday night, and then we traveled down to Kalamazoo and played at Western's rink on Saturday night. And, you know, it's two different type of games. When we were at our home rink, I thought, you know, even though they had the edge in shots, I thought we had the edge in scoring chances, and probably I felt, you know, we had the edge in play, could easily have won that game, and disappointed we didn't. Then we went down to Kalamazoo, and they definitely had the edge in play there, in particular in the second period. And that would be a period I'd like to have back of all 6 periods the entire weekend. The one period I could identify where I really felt we played poorly. And even though they had scored their goals on Friday night in the third period, we didn't play that bad in the third. We were fine. But in the second period at Kalamazoo, at Western, we had what I consider to be one of our poorer periods of the year, and that's all it took. When you have two teams that close, that's all it's going to take.
As we go to the highlights of Friday's game, a great crowd on hand, over 2,300 fans, a red-out promotion, and I know you're excited to play in front of that many people.
Yeah, we were, and I think, you know, first I'd like to thank John Coles and Sports Information Department and Dom Henning for all the hard work they've done in publicizing and pushing our team. And you know, I'm glad because we are having such a good year. It's great to see the fan support. We've always had great fan support, but this year it's above and beyond. And you can kind of see the rivalry that's developed between us and Western Michigan. We go over to their rink, and they're close to a sellout too the next night. So hockey's at a fever pitch between Western and Ferris State. And you would imagine that after all the great games we've had over the last 5 to 10 years. They've always been great hockey games. And in this series here, you know, the highlights we're seeing here, you know, it sounds like a broken record almost, but a very physical series, extremely physical, both nights, and you know, both teams. I think both teams are really, really close. We play very similar styles. We're both really up tempo. We both pursue the puck. There's not a lot of trapping, if you will. What you see is you see a constant all-out pressure from both teams. And I think the beneficiaries of that are the fans in terms of really great action. You're seeing high pace and really intense.
You scored first in this game against Western on Friday, and then Western Michigan came back with three straight goals in the third before the empty netter at the end. Talk about your play and early in the game and how that translated at the end of the game.
Well, I thought our play was fine most of the game. You know, we gave up. We had a 1-goal lead, and we went in the third period. We had a great chance to make it 2-0, and we hit the goal post. It came right down the ice, and they scored a goal. Now, instead of it being 2-0, it was 1-1. Here's where I really appreciated, or what I really appreciated about our team on that night, is we fell behind 3-1. There was 6 minutes to go in the game, and we had a 5-minute penalty on us. So now we're basically shorthanded for the rest of the night. We score a shorthanded goal to make it 3-2. At the end of that game, we pulled our goalie. We had a ton of pressure. And what a lot of times over the years, if you go out a 5-minute major, hey, maybe they score a couple goals and it's a rout. It wasn't that. As a matter of fact, we almost came back and tied that game. And I give our guys a lot of credit. Now, I'm not excited about the 5-minute penalty we took, but I am excited about how we never gave up. We kept fighting, and I think that's the kind of character that's allowed us to succeed up to this point in the season, and what really buoys my spirits, even though we had 2 losses, to know that we're going to continue to play well all year.
On Saturday, you make the trip down to Kalamazoo at Lawson Ice Arena. Talk about some of the differences between Friday's game and Saturday's game as you hit the road.
Well, what's really different for teams is when you do go on the road and play, and you know, basically their rinks just like ours. They have an unbelievable student section. So both rinks, if you looked at our league right now and you said what are the toughest rinks to play in, they would have to be Lawson, ourselves, and the University of Michigan. And the 3 common denominators amongst that grouping is they have terrific student sections. So here's the big difference. Now we're on the road, we're playing at Lawson, and boy, you really feel like you're the Christians being fed to the lions. I mean, when you go on, the difference between being at home and being on the road, but we enjoy it. You enjoy that as competitors. You like being in an environment where it's just kind of you against the world type of situation, and I think it'll make us a stronger team as we continue on down the road. But again, we played well in the first period. We played well in the third. We just had some moments in the second period I'd like to have back, and I think that'll be really the impetus of our work this week in practice and trying to eliminate some of the miscues that we had in the second period, which we hadn't seen all year long.
C.J. Mata, a good night in net for you guys. 39 saves, gave up the 3 goals, but had a nice night in terms of the number of saves.
Yeah, yes. You know, to some extent, Rob, I question the shot clock operator there in terms of number of shots on net. It seemed like that number sometimes went up by 2s and 3s, and I was a little surprised about that. So, nevertheless, he did perform well. Just not quite sure I had that number of saves.
This week, another home-and-home series as you take on Notre Dame, the Friday game in Big Rapids, and should be another great crowd. And then Saturday down in South Bend to take on the Fighting Irish.
Yeah, it's going to be another good series. I think you look at it like this, too, from the standpoint, when we played Western, they went through their tough time just before they played us. They went 5 games without a win. They're still a top 20 team in the country. It just shows you how good our league is. Now we're taking on Notre Dame, and they're coming off of 2 straight losses. We're coming off of 2 straight losses. Yet we're both in the top 15, maybe top 10 still in the country. And why that is our league is that good. And we knew all along we weren't going to run the table here. There's no way. Our league is just that good. And we're going to go through periods like this where you have 2 tough losses. Doesn't make it any easier, but what it does tell you is, hey, look, we don't have a whole lot of time to cry, but we know we're a good team, and like every good team in our league is so strong that everyone's going to have their moments. Now, how do we respond from here? Can we keep a 2-game losing streak into stretching any further? And that's going to be the key thing. How do we respond to this? You know, disappointed in 2 losses, but we realize fully that there's no way you're going to go from start to finish in this conference and you're going to run the table. So now the key is, hey, not to get too excited about it in terms of let's not get down, let's not lose our confidence, but we do have work to do.
Coach, your final series before the holiday break, and I know you want to try to build some momentum as you go into the second semester.
Yeah, we sure would. We would like to see that. And, you know, we finish this weekend. The kids will have exams. They'll break to go home. I think it's a break everyone needs. You know, the older kids are fine, but the freshmen have never been through anything like this. And the pace of practice, the intensity of the workouts, they'll enjoy being home and maybe coming up for air for a week or 2.
Well, best of luck.
Thank you, Rob.
That's going to do it for Ferris Sports Update. Thanks for tuning in.